fertilizers, how to read the labels, and interpret them to get valuable information that you need to have a quality yard on this episode of The Plant Doctor. Alright, so let's look at a basic 3-numbered bag of fertilizer. So the first number that we look at here, this tells us the percentage of nitrogen. This number tells us the second number, or the middle number tells us the percentage of phosphorus, and then the last number tells you the percentage of potassium. So this is 18% nitrogen, 46% phosphorus, and 0% potassium. Also on a guaranteed analysis, so the federal government requires that on a bag of fertilizer that this be put on here. So your N, P, and K, and also you can see right here it tells you your forms of nitrogen. So we have ammonical nitrogen. Some other forms you might see is urea. I think we'll look at a product here in a minute that does have some urea in it. And then your phosphate. So this is just ammonium phosphate is all it is. I wouldn't necessarily put this on a turf or a landscape. This particular bag of fertilizer was purchased to fertilize a pond. So I help manage a pond that's down the road from us, and oftentimes the limiting factor in a pond is phosphorus. So we're trying to create an algae bloom. That's the base of the food chain in a pond. So we're looking for something with high high phosphorus content. And so this particular fertilizer does that for us. Let's look at some other fertilizers, something that all of you guys are probably familiar with, a brand that's national. Miracle-Gro, all-purpose plant food. So this is really geared towards homeowners in terms of the advertisement here. They put a lot of pretty pictures on the front. Excuse me, I'm dropping the box. They put a lot of buzzwords: grows bigger, this and that, more beautiful plants. But what we're really after is going to be right here on the back. So anytime you buy a fertilizer, you want to look at this. This is your guaranteed analysis. This tells you what is going to be in the bag. So this particular fertilizer here is going to be 24% nitrogen. You have two forms of nitrogen. You have ammonical nitrogen and you have urea. So this particular mix of Miracle-Gro, they have several different mixes, but this mix is mainly urea. And then you have your phosphates and your potassium. And then you have some micronutrients in here as well. So Miracle-Gro is going to include some boron, copper, iron, manganese, molybdenum, and zinc. So these are going to be in addition to the N, P, and K that we looked at in a minute. One thing that I do want to point out, there's really two forms of fertilizer. So if we look at Miracle-Gro, let's see, I've still got some in this box. So this is a mix. So we're going to put this in water. We're going to make a solution. So this will dissolve and suspend in solution, and then you water with it. So you have this mix. In this bag here, we have preels. So here we're going to have fertilizer preels. Pull some out. So these are preels, and so the fertilizer is encapsulated here. And these preels are made to, most modern day preels are made to do what we call slow release. So they're bound. So there's two monomers that are mixed together to form a polymer. And that polymer regulates the release of the nutrient. And so you can have a 30-day preel, a 60-day preel, 90-day preel. I know that in some nursery production practices now, they're using a 180-day preel. So if they're growing deciduous plants, really they only have to put fertilizer in the pot once a year. They'll fertilize it early spring, and it has enough fertilizer to get it to the fall. So those are your two forms of fertilizer. So you have a preel and then you have a solution. Technically, there is a third. Some organic farmers are going to use a manure. I do not have any manures here to show you, but you will occasionally see that used in practice. But most farmers, most nurseries, most homeowners are going to use something like this on their shrubs. So if it's something woody like a tree or shrub, you're going to use a prill. And then on your annuals, use the Miracle Grow solution or some other water soluble solution. You can kind of get away with using this early spring on your woodies, but it's not going to be near as available as something that is slow released, because this nitrogen is going to be there for a week or two, and then it's gone, as opposed to something that's going to be released slowly over time. Let's take a look at a few more products. Even a product like bone meal. So this is you can pick this up anywhere, your local garden center, Lowe's. They are required to have a guaranteed analysis. So if we look on the back, bone meal is nothing more than 10% phosphorus. And I should make clear that when we're looking at these numbers, this is by weight, not by volume. So if I had a 50-pound bag of this and it's 10% phosphorus, that means there's 5 pounds of actual phosphorus in the bag. So I just wanted to be clear about that. So if I had a fertilizer that was, say, a 25% nitrogen, and I needed to put out 1 pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet of turf, I would be putting out 4 pounds of product per 1,000. And so that's kind of how you can use the numbers to determine how much fertilizer you need to put out. This is another product. This is called Rapture. I've used this on hostas and some of my woody ornamentals in and around the yard. And what this does, it has nitrogen, but what we're really after here is the iron. It's 12% iron. You have 3% manganese. This really does a nice job at greening things up. If I want to encourage something to green up and not really grow vegetatively, this is a good product. So we have 4% nitrogen, 0% phosphorus, and then 4% potassium. So I'm not going to. So nitrogen encourages a lot of vegetative growth. Yes, it does green things up, but the other side of that coin is if you're not trying to push growth, a lot of nitrogen may not be what you want to use. You may want to use something with a high iron and manganese content without getting too much into plant biochemistry. I know that would kind of supersede the realm of what we're looking at on this channel, but anytime you see manganese and iron and zinc in high concentrations in a fertilizer, it's going to green something up. I have another product here that's kind of the same thing. So this is a water soluble product. This is called Extreme Green, and notice here there is no nitrogen, there is no phosphorus, there is no potassium. Those three numbers, the N, P, and K, are not on here. So this is used to promote a dark green color in turf and ornamentals. So here again, we've got some sulfur. We have 16% iron and 4% manganese, and this will really green up some turf. So this is a water soluble product. I'm gonna pull some out. I've got a clump of it here. So you mix this up into solution, it dissolves. I do have a boom sprayer that I'll use to put this on my yard, and it'll really green up the turf. You may notice that a lot of these products that I have shown you are Simplot. Simplot makes great fertilizers. However, you may not be able to find Simplot. I can promise you, if you go to your local retail garden center or your local co-op, they are going to have a comparable product. It's probably perhaps made up by a different company other than Simplot, but they're going to have something on hand. It might be a high yield brand or some like Anderson's brand or something like that, but they're going to have these products for you. But the main purpose of this video that I wanted to go over today was really just, what do these numbers mean? What does the guaranteed analysis tell us? So here again, this is nitrogen, this is phosphorus, this is potassium. and then it'll tell us the forms of each in there, and then how to roughly, I could probably draw it out on paper, do the math on it, and do it exactly, but I use the example just because it's simple of 25% nitrogen, and if we needed to put it out at a rate of 1 pound, 4 pounds of actual product. So remember, this is by weight, not by volume. And then the two types of fertilizer that we have the prill, and then we have water soluble as well. If you have questions, put it down in the comment section. And this is the Plant Doctor. We'll see you next time.